Talks, and we have another special episode for you. I hope everybody's doing well, and you know, this week is Memorial Day, and to remember that it's to remember the lost soldiers that were lost in combat, and to remember how lucky we are we live in a country where we have such great freedoms, and to remember the lost soldiers that fought for those freedoms. And just want to say, I hope everybody's doing well and everybody has awesome barbecues and has a great meals and hang out with your families. And so let's get into the news. First in the news, AEW wrestler Darby Allin was recently. I mentioned before that he was trekking up through Mount St. Helens. He is the first ever professional wrestler to reach the peak of Mount Everest. And it is very humongous. It is a very big thing that someone like him would reach the peak. I mean, there's been a few people that have reached the peak of Mount Everest, but this is a big thing that Darby Allin has reached the peak of Mount Everest. And like, he had a humongous, it wasn't just him, he had a crew of people with him that helped him along the way get to the top. He even put a AEW flag to show how strong AEW is as a company and how far it will go to reach the summit of the highest place in the world as Mount Everest. And also recently on the 18th, there was the anniversary of the disaster of Mount St. Helens, a massive eruption, which didn't just affect the surrounding area, which a few volcanologists were unalived during that incident, and joggers and hikers, and a grumpy old man that just didn't want to leave the mountain. It affected all around the United States, including out west and almost out north, and the ash cloud was massive. Also, in other news, there's a Mawal volcano that went off and basically caused some tsunami warnings, but there were some heavy. I don't know if there was any tsunamis near California, but there were some heavy waves that brushed up against the coast. Also, in other news, the iconic doll that is possessed, I can't remember her name, Annabelle. Yes, she had been going on a tour, and along this tour, there's this belief that there's this conspiracy that Annabelle is filled with evil, and that the original owner said that you should never move Annabelle. But I think because there's another Conjuring movie came out, the studio convinced the people that are taking care of Annabelle, hey, you should take her along the way. And all these places through the United States, there was all sorts of issues. This old down where Katrina hit, there was a building caught fire because a bolt of lightning struck it. And then in New York, apparently these prisoners got loose, and there's been all these weird things, tornadoes happening, and a lot of people believe that Annabelle is behind it. And there's a belief, and there's another conspiracy right now that has been leaking around online that someone has stolen Annabelle. And I don't know if this is true or not. I've been looking through TikTok to see if this is if this is it's say or what. It's kind of a weird thing to think that, okay, someone's gonna steal a possessed doll. Like, why? The only reason I could think that you could want to steal a doll like that is if you want to set it on fire. Which, in my opinion, I think possessed things like that should be burned and then be the power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. Go back to hell which you were long. That's just my opinion. If you have a possessed doll, I try not to mess with that kind of stuff. But I've been guilty. I've gone on ghost hunts. I've listened to ghost boxes, and it's kind of a crazy thing to think about that someone would want to steal something like that. In other news, uh, the iconic announcer that announced for WWE and currently AEW has been diagnosed with colon cancer. And I'm hoping my prayers are with him. It's a sad thing when you hear an iconic person like that get sick like that. It took Patrick Swayze from us. There's been a few actors that have had colon cancer and they lost that battle. And also another news, I wasn't really. He was the president of the United States. I wasn't his biggest fan when he was president, but apparently our former president Joe Biden has colon cancer also. But say this, there's a lot of weird stuff going on here, that the fact that you don't just get colon cancer like that. He had cancer during his presidency. So there's a lot of layers there that are being covered up, even medical procedures and like being checking in on him. There's a lot of cover-ups, and there's been a lot of weird stuff going on, and with politics. I'm going to do this kind of backwards, but I guess for a subject, food of the week, and I'm going to do this backwards because it's the layering of the show, how I do the show and everything. And if I forget things, I do apologize. I try to remember it as much as I can. Okay, a food of the week, and I'll say this, since I'm trying to be on the health kick and trying to go to the gym. Salads. I like a good salad, honestly, and I back in the day I would eat it with ranch, any kind of dressing, or maybe some dressing, balsamic vinaigrette. That's since I'm healthy. I do like a good Caesar salad, and King Caesar. By the way, that's why they call it the Caesar salad. And the real Caesar salad, actually has fish in it. Look it up. And I had an interesting fact and I forgot it. I that's the one thing I forgot to say for an interesting fact. But just back on topic. I like different kind of salads. Now let me know what salads you like. Put them in the chat, or put it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinions. I know we're live right now. We're here on the Tommy Talk Show, live from Western North Carolina. I'm Tommy NC 2010, and you're here on the Tommy Talk Show. I'm feeling good. I just recently had dinner with my mom. Hey, Mom, love you. We had a great time. We went out and had some drinks, and like she said, it's hard to believe that she would be going out having drinks with her younger son. It's one of those things where it's just like, wow, that's crazy. I think of myself, like, now I go out and I'm having drinks with my mom, and she's a very kind lady, and I always appreciate her. And I hung out with my friend Hamza also today. Me and Ozzy and Uncle Dan went out to eat to a Mexican restaurant out in Marion, and it was quite delicious. I enjoyed it very much, and it was a great time. And let me think here. Okay, and I got a word of the day, and now this is going to be weird. The word is epileptic. Epileptic, what does that mean? Epileptic is when someone has seizures because when they see flashing lights or anything goes off really crazily, they could have a stroke. Epileptic. That person is very epileptic. And it's kind of a crazy word, epileptic. And also here's another word for you, corpulent. Yes, my father taught me that word. That means fat. He one time said, Tommy, you're very corpulent today. And I was like, shut up, Dad. He was a nut. Yes, he was a nut. I could say that. Oh, geez. And here is the one subject that, what fires me up. And I'm gonna broadly touch this. I'm gonna touch this as much as I can. Is people. People sometimes in public when they are just ridiculous, or they think that they are indebted to something, like they're owed something apparently, like constantly this thing where they people are just ridiculous. Like people are loud, people are noisy, and they get in your way. And when you're doing something, and they just kind of bust their way into you, you're just like, hey, back off. Like some people, and I even say this, I hate double parkers. I hate people that take up two parking spaces. And I think the whole entire world has to stop around you. And I try my best, and I'm a big guy. I try to squeeze into small places. Recently I was with a friend, and the person pulled all the way up in the parking space, but made it so hard that my friend couldn't get into her car. She had to squeeze into the car just to get into her car. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, sometimes people, be considerate of other people. Like, I think sometimes people just need to have a broad perspective of how things are going. Like, just understand you're not the only person that's around in there. You respect people's space. It's just like kind of a broad insanity kind of thing where you know that, oh, I have to respect people's boundaries. I can't just bump into people and like say, oh, get out of my way. Like, you have to be respectable. And like it is what it is. Like, you just have to respect people's boundaries and not be ridiculous, and it is what it is. Like, I just respect people's boundaries and don't be ridiculous. And like, don't mess with people's properties. Like, I mean, I've been looking at videos on TikTok about HOAs and people that freak out for no reason because, oh, suddenly they put something new on their front lawn, or their trash cans are too close. I was gonna do a movie review, but I haven't recently. I did watch Bloodlines, uh, Final Destination Bloodline, but I was like, I don't. I remember some of it, but I should have just did a spoiler review when I did the review. But I was like, I didn't want to be one of those people that put out spoilers. But if I could say this about Final Destination Bloodlines, uh, like, this is like, if you're gonna go watch Final Destination's Bloodlines, be prepared to like have your vomit bag, because it is super bloody. I'll just say this: in one of the kills, a girl gets her head crushed into a garbage truck, and it is like, I had to close my eyes because I just couldn't look at it. And uh, one of the other spoilers is when she has the prediction and she is trying to survive the explosion, she gets her finger caught on a piece of steel with her husband just gave her a ring and was super tight. And before she dies, her finger rips off, like it peels off. That's an actual thing that happens if your ring gets too tight and somehow you get it caught on something and you yank it back, you can actually rip the flesh right off your. It's If you look online, I can't remember what it's called, but if you look up pictures of fingers that have been, like, skin has been ripped off because of a ring, it looks nasty. Ugh. My brother taught me about that, and he's like, Tom, you need to be careful. You can get your finger, like, if you get yourself finger caught on something and you yank it off, it could pull your skin off. There was quite a few uh, bloody kills in this movie, and I could say that, as of watching it, I give it a solid 10, like 10 tips of the hat. Like, I think it was one of my favorite movies of this year. I haven't really gone to see a lot of movies recently, but Final Destination's Bloodline was a good movie to go see. And if you're not a horror fan, I understand that. It is what it is. You have your own likes. You have what you like to do, and I do what I do, and you do what you do. For some, of course. But I just want to say I appreciate everybody that tunes into the show here. I really appreciate it, and I won't. I'll do the show I do the show every here every once in a while. I'm gonna get back to getting it back on my computer again, and I just hope that everybody is doing well. As for inspirational speech, I'm trying to think of. I was like something. Okay, here's something for an inspirational speech. Inspirational speech. Would you have goals in life? Work on those goals slowly. Don't try to gobble up those major goals. Work on them slowly. Build on them. Because here's what happens. If you try to work on those big goals, you tend to fail sometimes. But the thing is, slowly work yourself into those goals. Like one at a time, one piece at a time. Mark them down, 1, 2, 3, and then finally, when you want that main goal, conquer that goal. Because the fact is that the moment you rush into something, you end up losing control and going off the side of the road and crashing into a tree and losing everything. So the fact is, if you are going to do something, conquer in small pieces. Of course. I'm sorry. People come into my chat and they say stupid things and they just run their mouths and I have to time them out. That's why I'm doing that. Is I'm timing people out, and I'm just I want to say that I hope you enjoyed this episode of Tommy Talks, and I just try to pace it out and do the subjects but the news stories that catch my eye, and I just want to, like, for instance, I'll show you. This is kind of I'll show you my layout. Look at this. This is how like. I should have put a K on it, not a C, for like saying that JR had cancer. I put a C there, but I should have put a K. And also for food of the week, I put food, and then I put a bowl with just a bunch of random stuff. And with epileptic, I kind of put a bunch of weird stuff in there. Look at that. For news, I put NW for the news, if I spelled that right. But I know that's for me. AEW. Darby Allin. I put Darby's name and his halfway through his initials, and I kind of put a question mark because I didn't know what to say for an inspirational speech. But that's kind of my layout there. I'm kind of looking down here. I have my sunglasses so you guys can't see me looking down like this. So I'm having a constant view with you guys and just checking out all the stuff that's going on in here, and I just enjoying the day, and I hope everybody's doing well. And I wish that everybody does well this week and stays healthy, and always appreciating everybody's positive comments, and I always appreciate the love. Thank you so much. You are so kind, and I always appreciate you tuning in to another awesome episode of Tommy Talks, and it's just a beautiful day. I had a wonderful day, and it is what it is. I just kind of live day to day, try to entertain you guys, and I always appreciate you guys tuning in to another awesome episode of Tommy Talks. As always, folks, I'm Tommy NC 2010, and I'm keeping you on the inside fact. Subscribe, support, stay positive. I don't know. That's all I have for you folks. I hope you enjoyed this show the best to my abilities that I deliver to you, and I hope you are all feeling well. And I just want to say that also before I go, if you're looking for awesome clothing, check out the Tommy store, where you can get awesome Tommy gear so you can look as good as me. Get a Tommy NC 2010 hat. Get Making Tommy NC 2010 Great Again hat. Get a hoodie. To get the Tommy NC 2010 comic book, you can get it on there and through Amazon. The link through Amazon. And also, don't forget to check out the Tommy NC 2010 comic book. There's 3 copies in total, back to back, of the Tommy NC 2010 comic book, which you can get on Amazon. And I want to say to all my haters, frig you. Frig you and your friggin' agendas, and you're disgusting, and I think it's ridiculous that you can't just leave a person alone. You have to just constantly poke and poke and poke and just be toxic, and I know who these people are from, and I just it is what it is. I want to say, oh yes, you Hollywood, if I could say this, inspiration. I've been falling back on this myself, taking out a camera and just filming, doing a vlog, just going out. And now I kind of I've let walking TikToks take that place, because I go somewhere and I will just do a walking TikTok, and it's all about you, Hollywood. Making content for yourself, making yourself a celebrity, making yourself an image of what you want to rectify with, because you are a badass. You are an inspiration, and you Hollywood, you Hollywood. You Hollywood! You Hollywood! The place for you to be is the standards of what we can build ourselves as human beings. Don't be afraid to stick out. Stick out as much as you are, because the fact is, you are a beacon of light that goes the distance, that knows the flame, the fire, the distance, the time, because you are you Hollywood. You are you Hollywooders. And my you Hollywood is kind of dimmed a little bit because of just me as a person, and just I am depressed at times, and my emotions affect me sometimes, and I need to go out and make more content. And I think what was it? June the 6th, I am going to be going to South Carolina. If anybody lives in South Carolina, I'll put out more information. But if anybody lives in South Carolina, I'll be going to a wrestling show. Bret Hart's going to be there. A few Hall of Famers are going to be there. I think it's an indie show. It's $100 for to meet Bret Hart. And there's another wrestler there that I'm a big fan of. He's not wrestling for WWE anymore, but he was released because of being intoxicated in public. And Matt Riddle. He's a wild card. He's a pothead, and I think it was one of the reasons why he got released. But also, I just think, I don't know. It was during the Vince era that he got released. That where Vince was kind of dwindling away from the company. But I think, yeah, June the 6th. I will be going to South Carolina. So if any of my fans live in South Carolina and you want to meet me, I'll be at that event. And when it gets closer, I will let everybody know where the location is and where the event is. But you do have to pay to get into this event if you want to come. And you have to pay extra for pictures and autographs and stuff like that. But I'll be doing that. And I might do a vlog. I don't know, going down there and just experiencing the environment down there, and just don't forget, inspire, entertain, you Hollywood. Never give up, never surrender. Feel the fire that is you Hollywood. You Hollywood. You Hollywood. You Hollywood. You Hollywood! You Hollywood! Feel the energy that is you Hollywood. As always, folks, I'm Tommy NC 2010, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of Tommy Talks as best as I could deliver it as I could. And I want to say thank you always for tuning in. And, it's time to go, folks. I'm keeping you on the inside fact. Subscribe, support, stay positive. Catch you later, folks.